Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CJCJ show. This is episode 10, featuring the legends. Both of them have been here before. You know them. They're great at the game. They're great people. Chicago, Torment. Welcome to the show. As normal, you also have CJCJ, Chrome, and myself. Like I said, episode 10. Back at it, talking about North American Regional coming up. It's regional number 2 of the winter split. Let's get into it.
Elephant in the room right now. Tommy in the top right corner was just an absolute must to kick off the stream. Look, I know some people wanted Turbo, but he was a laid out. Said he couldn't do it, and Tommy steps up. That's the kind of bloke he's been for the last 6 years of professional Rocket League. Torment, how we going, brother?
I'm good. Yeah, I was mid scrims, got the message. I was like, sure, and sure. It's perfect timing. It ended right after that Zen Daniel show match. I was watching that, and now here I am.
And obviously, Chicago. Pretty happy to get your boy Torment on the other side. I know you guys are just you're dynamite in the 2v2 playlist because I played you guys a few times. How's it feel to have Torment on the show? Are you disappointed not having Turbo, or are you happy to have your boy over here in the top right?
Obviously sad not to have Turbo, but just as good as a replacement Tommy, boys for a while, it should be a good show. We're in the same group, maybe a little banter going around, you know what I'm saying?
Rematch group.
Yeah.
Rematch group.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Every split.
We flipped seeds actually. We were third seed last time, and they were fifth, and then we flipped. So
What are the odds you guys get in the same group all three regionals?
Probably very high.
pretty good.
Really?
Yes.
Like, I'll just say.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't go lower than fifth because we have major points.
Oh.
So
that.
yeah, I mean the odds you could maybe one of us could G2 could move to second and we can move to fourth if we do good, but it really just depends.
Do you guys like that then? I guess that's sort of how the seating works for this split with groups. You're probably going to have the same group the whole way through. Do you like that? Like you almost know going in who you're going to be playing?
I don't mind it. I mean, I think it's different for each team, but it seems like a fair way to seed stuff usually, so I don't mind it as long as it's fair. And it makes sense. It's not just random putting teams in a group. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think having the major points always in there for the major teams makes sense because I feel like they should have a seeding advantage. It gives you kind of somewhat of a bonus from that, I guess.
Look, we'll dive into the regional a little bit later on because that's what a lot of people are here for. But also, there's a lot of people coming from the Dan and Zen 1v1. We're all just watching it. Probably everyone in chat was just watching it. And it looks like Johnny's just raided us. So everyone's definitely now coming from the Zen and Dan 1v1. Thank you so much, Johnny, for the raid. Chrome, you're sitting here watching your boy Dan in the 1v1. Talk us through it. What's the nerves like? Were you confident against this prodigy, Zen?
I mean, I'm always excited and rooting for Dan. I'm always in his corner. It was a good match. I honestly thought Dan would win that, but I was really surprised then. I think Johnny said that he started playing once this hard in show matches this past week or whatever. So he's really new to this. So it was actually impressive to see him come out a couple months ago. Okay, well it's actually really cool to see him come up and destroy everyone. Makes one's interesting to watch too. Some new talent coming up there.
And what was it? I think 4 games on NA as well. So he took one over on NA. Do you boys think Chicago and Torment, this Zen, you guys probably wouldn't, have played him or much, or maybe in ranked when you're boot camping over in EU, but do you guys sort of, I don't know. It feels like there's so much hype around him that I was almost like, he can't be this good, but then he just keeps sort of doing his thing. Do you think Zen's actually going to come in and take over from an NA perspective?
I mean, I've played him. I remember he would queue randomly late night. It was weird. It probably would have been in the morning for him. Maybe he got up before school and was playing. But I remember playing him on NA servers. I think I had him on my team. And this guy was just scoring every double tap, every solo play, just super efficient. And I think that's just what the game is now. The most efficient player is just find success, and he's definitely one of the most efficient players I've ever seen. It's not just pure mechanics too. He's just a very smart player. You can tell he knows what he's doing with the ball. And I mean the fact that he's already that good at ones. His kickoff wasn't even his kickoff was pretty rough for one standard. He was gonna own that kickoff, but he still could easily, or not easily, but could still win that series is absurd.
Have either of you switched over your air rolls to be the triggers?
No.
No.
Are you thinking about it?
I probably not. I don't really think. I think like that. The Twitter threads that were going around were kind of just a little bit of like over hype or overkill, saying like, "Oh my God, Zen's controls this, this, and this, and allows them to do this, and this differently." And I think it's cool. It's like different aspects, but it's nothing where it's like, "Holy shit, it's gonna change the meta of the game." Like, I don't think people have to really change. Like, it's not just because he has those controls that he's able to be so good. Anyone could be good with any controls. He's just different.
Well,
Yeah.
Chrome, you were sort of saying, you were talking about it. You're a little bit of a fan of the air roll on the trigger because it lets you, what do you say, like it lets you double jump whilst the air rolling, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't hold down input, apparently, it doesn't really recognize it as an air roll, so you can double jump without like flipping. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And you can choose the speed of your air roll, which you can't really do with a normal air roll.
Well,
You can't do it with normal directional, but you can do it with just like base air roll. You can like fast aerial and double jump and control the speed and stuff because it uses your joystick. So as long as you don't push your joystick like too far, you can do this. I think you can do all the same thing. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but that's always what I've done.
That sounds right. But then you just lose the advantage of having like a pure directional.
Yeah. Like having it be directional is definitely a bit of an advantage if you can master it. I agree with that. I don't think it's not what makes him so good.
It's not like crazy.
It's a very minor thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it might help his consistency stuff, but I mean, with Zen, right? The thing with me is, like, you always see these. Well, I don't say you always see these kind of players, but you call them like scream anchors, like these kids that are coming up, absolutely peaking. I know Torment, Chicago, you know about this. You're playing ranked and you're playing against the biggest peakers you've ever seen. Even some bubble teams, you know what I mean? They peak in scrims or whatever. They get to tournament day, they can't show up. My biggest thing with Zen was like, how is he going to sort of repeat this on tournament day? Like, this guy's got no pressure. He's never played RLCS and stuff, but you're seeing him on Johnny's stream still being able to peak. He doesn't look like he turns into an Airbus. Like, surely this kid can't just be like nerves of steel. Surely we're going to see him, come into the RLCS, and even like Dan did sort of, in his first LAN, stuff like that, when he was, he had a bit of the whiffs for a few of the first series. Like, everyone's human. Surely this kid's human. Like, he's going to, go to his first LAN or first RLCS regional, and we'll see, not the Zen we're used to seeing. Or am I crazy?
Nah, I think he doesn't have I think it's gonna be a little bit unfair to him because how much hype he has. People are gonna think he's just should be dropping a whatever 1.5 rating every series, and Vitality should be winning because people just think he's what did they see in ones and twos and think that translates to threes when threes is way different. They just are gonna expect him to win probably regionals lands within his first year of competitive, and it's just not like that. But I think he'll still be really good just because the way he plays is very controlled, and it's very he can play any speed, and it's more up to him on what tempo he wants to play. But he's definitely probably gonna have some nerves that he'll just get over with experience. But I think more than anything, he's just gonna it's gonna be unfair to him with the pressure that the Prodigy title he's come with. That people are just gonna expect so much out of him that's gonna be unrealistic.
As two of the vets, of the older boys, you guys are you guys now sort of always consistent top 10 oldest players at LANs? Are we both in there or not?
I'm number 2 in the last LAN. JNAPS is the only one above me.
Cargo,
this was my first one.
You're creeping in. You're creeping in there.
Yeah, it's my first one, so I'm not consistent. I'm not a main. I mean, I might start being a mainstay, but this was what LAN was it? Rotterdam was my first one.
Thing is, no one older than you just spawns in. They all spawn in younger than you. So you just eventually you'll get to the top. JNAPS is gonna be at the top until he's retired. I'm pretty sure. He's not leaving the top.
Once Worlds happens, then maybe not because
the SSA.
Well, I don't even know.
Skill Steel will come in and he's 25 or something.
Yeah.
I love no one spawns in older. Now, look, what I was going to ask you is, as we said, we're not getting any younger fellas. And what's the biggest? You see the likes of Zen on the up. What's the biggest thing you guys need to, I guess, keep adapting to your game to keep staying at the top? Is it sort of mech, or do you think it's more team play stuff like we're seeing with Gen G now?
I think the big thing is the speed, like the speed of play, is keeping up with how fast people play. Like the challenge game, I think is super important. I think that's why Gen G is one of the best teams because they're all on the same page and they're very good at challenging the ball and stuff and disrupting the midfield and stuff like that. And then obviously mechanics too. You got to be able to make plays and hit the ball.
Yeah, I'd probably agree.
I guess
All of
you sort of.
I mean, kind
To
of
be
covered.
honest,
You basically just spit out all the basics of Rocket League.
yeah, I mean, to be honest,
yeah.
I think like
Can't lie.
for me, and like I haven't really done it yet, but like a complete 1v1 grind for like I don't know how long. I mean, obviously, but like a straight ones grind for a good amount of time would be the best way to improve. Just because I think like the way Rocket League is now is like whoever the most efficient team is usually wins because Rocket League's just the pro play is just decided by a bad 50 or giving up possession. So when you do get that air dribble and you fuck it up and you get a terrible first touch and you have to recover from it, you just lose the 50 super hard and it puts your teammates in a bad position. Like if you have a good touch 50% of the time, that's not good enough. Like you have to be almost 100% of the time. And that's where I think ones is like super crucial is like you become just a consistent machine, to be honest. Like all the ones players, I feel like that's the greatest quality about them. Like first Dan, Zen, Nuapo, TRK, etc. They're just so consistent that it's like that's the most impressive part to me.
Have you been upping your ones game recently? Because I feel like I've been watching your streams and I'll hear you say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's time to go play some ones games." And I feel like that's something I haven't heard you say often.
Yeah, I like to play ones like a lot more than I used to. Like for a while, I was just doing 1v1 like show matches, not show matches, but like private matches with Atomic, just because we know like that's both a good way to get better. So we just do that like every night, and then
What's a nightly thing?
well, it was, but we haven't really been doing it recently. And then now I just I just know if I try and sprinkle them in, but if I really wanted to, and I should at some point, just going straight 1v1s for X amount of time because I always notice the more I play once, the better I play or the better I feel. And there's obvious I haven't like tried going crazy with 1v1s for 2 weeks straight or a month straight and see what it does to me, but I know it'd help me improve for sure.
I always thought that twos and threes had their place in like a practice rotation, because like ones puts so much pressure on you to not mess up, especially like get your mind right. I feel like
Yeah, for
'cause
sure.
you guys are just talking about how you need to be consistent. Like you can't have like a rate of 50% of good challenges. You have to have like probably 80, 90 plus. And ones is a good way to train your mind to be consistent.
Yeah, it takes some mental too. Like you have some random ones main that has played 500 matches this season that just takes every ball and tries to airdrop bump you. It's tough. Like that's what drove me away from it. I couldn't manage like trying to like improve mechanically, and then you're just getting absolutely sweat on by some people.
So you haven't been putting in the ones hours, Tor?
Oh, me probably. I'll queue everyone now and then, but no, I don't like to sit there and grind it.
Do you want to? Is that something you think you should do?
I did for a bit. I think you could still do just twos and still get that improvement. You definitely have to play at least twos. I think ones is definitely good for like, yeah, like it increases like those like situations where you have to be perfect, and it definitely improves you faster individually. But yeah, it's just it annoys me for sure. So I usually stick to twos.
Coach Chrome, do you try and encourage the boys to, obviously Dan's playing ones, but mainly I guess LJ and Arsenal?
I mean, I always encourage it because like you're always gonna be in a situation where you're either defending a 2v1 or like a 1v1. You're on an island by yourself. And you got to be composed in those situations and know when you can go and when you can't go. And just like knowing in that situation, you're on your own. You know how to read a card better. Like that's why it makes like Vatira and like Dan and all those players really good. Jack like defensively is because they're so used to just playing on the back foot and being able to read a car and what they're gonna do, and not get too hectic and make the bad touch. So I honestly think it's really beneficial, regardless of obviously getting ball time on like with no teammates, which is also really helpful.
Yeah, I'm sort of with Torment when I was playing. There was it just felt like I don't really want to do it. But I agree that it's probably the best thing you can do playing around. It's probably the best. Do you reckon it's the best game mode to play, like to improve, like ranked wise, outside of scrims, or do you think still twos is king?
Nah.
I always thought there was
One's
going to be a
clears.
balance.
You reckon?
I mean, I think a balance is good, but like I'm not gonna lie. If you're a player on the come up, like you're putting in the hours and you want to be pro in Rocket League, you need to be playing ones. Like not only does it I feel like get your name out there really well compared to other forms of like trying to go pro in this game, but like just the skill. Like I mean, like the people that have come up through ones lately are the people who have been like kind of the best players recently. I don't know if it's here came in through ones, but like there's First Killer, and then there like the First Killer era, and then it was Dan, now it's Zen. I mean, like it just is by far in a way like I think if you're on the come up, the best way to come up. Even like Drees too. Like we picked up Drees because I knew his 1v1 background. I knew it was just like he was coachable,
I mean, I guess that's the best way to like snipe talent is you find someone that is just so mechanically dominant in ones, because like that's where you can truly showcase yourself mechanically, because there's no relying on anybody else.
It's sort of like it's just so punishing as well that I feel like even in twos, like you sort of get away with some bad challenges, some mistakes here and there because you've got a teammate, but it's sort of like one mistake and you're done. Yeah, I agree. It probably for like even if you're a plat 1 watching right now, it probably teaches you spacing the best of any game mode as well, and just knowing when to challenge, when not to challenge, like shadow defense and stuff like that. So look, we're all recommending it. Doesn't mean we're all playing it, but it's certainly good. Yeah, like you touched on, I guess Gen G when you were talking about how teams want to play, how you guys want to keep improving. And look, we're speaking to those guys after they won the first regional. Look, they're saying that in North America they just sort of like they just think about the game a little bit differently. Like other teams aren't really thinking about it in the way that they are, and stuff like that. What do you guys sort of say to that?
Do you want to go first?
Good question. Nah, I'm just gonna say good question. You should probably go first.
Well, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like we as a team like watched our replays versus the Gen G series, and mainly like Gen G. The last 2 times we played on best of 7, we've been smoked. It's been like 2 of the probably top 5 worst losses in terms of just like bro, we were so bad, as well as like we just got smoked. But we were playing like I understand why they say that, because like the way they're playing, it was very methodical, like together. Everything was on the same page. It was very well done. But like we were playing, I can't speak for like all of NA Rocket League for sure, but the way we were playing was super like unlike us, where it was just all of our like habits and consistent decisions were just probably wrong like 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that kind of makes sense now that they say that, because like sometimes we're just doing, like I noticed in a replay, we would just be doing stuff that is clearly the wrong play, and Gen G's just like, I guess, quote unquote, like in their head thinking about it, which is true, and they just end up countering us because we made the wrong play. But I think it's more of like not just us not thinking, it's just we've been kind of lazy. At least for my team, we've been kind of lazy with our I guess our work habits, and just we've built up bad habits over the last couple months, and they show in tournaments, so we've been trying to fix that. But they do have I guess a little bit of a right in saying like they think, because they are very together and very well organized as a unit.
Yeah, I took some time to think about my answer. But I think I have a few things to say about Gen G, I guess. I mean, I said it earlier, but they do have one of the best like midfield just challenge games. It's very hard to like get like free get out of it and transition to offense, because like they'll just be like pre-jumping your touch already. Like they pre-jump a lot, and they've actually gotten really good at that. And I think also their communication, like I've definitely like watched their comms videos, and a lot of people probably watch their comms videos, and they communicate like very early and very fast, like and seem to be on the same page a lot. Like they know who's gonna go for next, and they know like I guess just their rotation and their comms and that stuff.
How much
they also
of it
are very confident. Sorry.
Like Chicago, you mentioned that you guys got smacked the last couple of times you played them. How much of it is, I guess, not just them playing well, but nearly like you guys beating yourselves in a way, like getting in your own head in certain situations, like always or not like respecting them too much, but maybe just overthinking the situation. Do you think that plays into it, or it's more just them?
Like us overthinking.
Yeah, like nearly beating
Uh,
yourselves in those sort of ones, or is it just are they just
Yeah,
that good?
I think. Well, for us, it's just for example, like in a series where we usually like to be the aggressive team and like start off, with our like, we just want to feel like we're comfortable to start. So I think throughout a series, especially against Gen G, they probably show it the most. Just like that's when we start struggling a little bit, is because like we're not playing like what we envision ourselves coming in the series. So by the time game 3 rolls around, we'll just start making even worse and more like dumb mistakes just because we're starting to get a little bit frustrated. So they definitely capitalize on it well. And we start just, making bad plays. But it's got to be like, it's got to be more on us to just be better at the start of the series and, be better throughout a series, not just trying to, because you're down like 2 or 3-0 to just, you know, play like idiots and not think the series is over, but just, get away from what you've been working towards, basically.
Mm. Chrome, what are your thoughts
What's up?
as it from a coach's perspective?
I mean, yeah, I mean, watching their comms videos, I definitely agree that they always have a decision made in their minds and they're all on the same page about it. Whereas I feel like, at least with my team, and I could definitely say the same for a lot of teams, it's like there's always that indecisiveness where you call something and then you don't follow through with it, which it catches a lot of teams to be more solo play heavy instead of like working as a team. Whereas like they're like, all right, I'm gonna fake this. Like their first instinct when they're on the ball as first man is like, oh, I'm gonna fake it. It's not like a last second call of like, oh, I'm gonna fake it, and then second man has to guess what he's doing. He pretty much knows what he's gonna do at all times, so they know like when they need to back off or when they need to be aggressive. That's why I think they're far ahead right now. Teams need to be more in sync and then stick to their play style as well.
Do you think that teams? So I'm getting some like static. Is that me or is that no one else is hearing that? Other, hopefully not. Do you think that some teams? I guess what's stopping at this point now? Obviously, GNJ they've won the major. They're still picking up where they won the first regional. What's I guess when are we going to start seeing some teams like I guess really fully try and dive into that sort of play style and the I guess the togetherness of that team? Or is it just like they're a bit like they've just come together and like it's just work, like there's just a match made in heaven? Or are we going to see like the established teams like you guys, I guess, trying to work a bit more of that team mindset, work on that midfield game? I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how is it possible
You're
to
trying to, like,
emulate what
counter 'em,
Gen G are doing?
basically,
Yeah,
or like figure out a way to beat them.
yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think for us, like, Genji's like one team, and I don't think we've been like ourselves really this season. So like we're more focused on ourselves, but obviously we still look at like Genji, and I mean we go through ideas, but to be honest, the best way I think is like, which obviously hasn't really happened yet, is to see them lose or like kind of them get them be the one that gets pieced together, and so then like every team can look at those replays and be like, okay, what did this team do? And every team will start taking stuff and then like seeing how they did it. Because that's just the best way to see how teams like usually fall apart. I know like for us, with Rizzo, like everyone, starts just waiting for us to throw ourselves out and just take an open net, so they just all sit back a little bit more before where we could just do whatever we wanted. So it's just like eventually counters will be found. I don't know when it'll happen with this team. I'm assuming probably maybe like at the end of this split or starting during the next split, but you never know. Just gotta see them lose and see what the team does.
We've seen.
You guys scrim them often?
Yeah, like we scrim probably twice a week.
Okay.
But scrims you just can't like use in
Yeah, it's not the
RLCS too
same.
much. Yeah.
It gives you a little bit though. It's not. It doesn't
Yeah.
give you a lot, but it gives you a little bit. Like specifically for them, like trying
Yeah,
to challenge
for
them.
sure.
It gives you a little bit.
Yeah,
but
you can
not-
like build an idea and then try and replicate it, but you
Never
can't
gonna be
like carbon
perfect.
copy saying this
Yeah.
like the same thing.
I was gonna say like we've seen a couple of times. They had the Oxygen series at the major where they got 3-0, they got smashed, and then I guess the first regional last split, they lost to FaZe. I think both times has sort of been that speed, I guess, aspect. I guess a roundabout way of like my last question as well is like, do you think this Gen G playstyle is just the way to play Rocket League, or do you think that, you know, it's like for you Chicago, like the G2 speed, you know, if you guys are on, like that can be the recipe to beat them, or that can be the way?
I think definitely like we could probably take some stuff from them, but I'm confident in us because I know for a fact we have not been like anywhere near our level where we could be this season. So I think I'm still confident in whatever we perform, our play style can win and beat any team. But I definitely think that you have to take, like, especially Carmine too. You have to take some stuff and try and implement in your own play style and just see what works and what doesn't. I don't think their ways necessarily like everyone needs to copy it. Um, but to say like you could just play whatever way you want and win is dumb. Just because you know if there's a team dominating like Carmine and Gen G, you have to see what they're doing and try and pick up.
I want to put you in the hot seat a little bit, Chicago, and then I'm going to put Torment in the hot seat. All right, because we haven't spoken to you since, you know, first split, since the major. I guess what you know, you've spoken a little bit about your team right now, not playing how you guys want to be or how you guys want to play. I guess is there any like I guess public reasons for that, or is it more just like you lost your style and like what are you guys sort of working on now to get back to it?
To be honest, I think a big problem was like when we picked up Atomic and basically say for the last like first 6 months, also in like the first year, the first 6-7 months, um, we kind of like felt like every scrim we wanted to improve just because like we wanted to learn how to play with Atomic and like so we figured out every scrim or after every game we talked about something that we could improve or what we liked. And so I felt like every day we just felt like we were getting better. And then the next 6 months, and it was like a team thing. It's not like on one person. Like I had some terrible days. You know, it just happens to everyone. But those days weren't really there. It was kind of just show up in like bad attitude, bad mental. We're just going about scrims, not really focused on anything. And I think recently we've been really trying to do that. And I felt the improvement, to be honest. So it feels like we're trying to get to ourselves. And obviously, it's not gonna happen overnight. So we're working towards that. But it was just been bad, you know, bad work habits. So we don't really have anyone else to blame but ourselves. But we're working. We've realized it, and we've like had honest talks as a team, and we're trying to get better, learn from it, and try and just limit it so it never happens again if possible.
I've probably found like Chrome would probably agree. It's sometimes you get so complacent and it doesn't you sort of don't, I guess, snap onto the fact that you're probably not improving, or you might be regressing or staying at the same level. And then it takes that like one bad loss. And probably for you guys it was probably that power one that's like, okay, you know, we need to fix something here. Like, this is, you know, it's almost like you just get those the flashing lights, like, well, okay, something's seriously wrong. Like, we have not been switched on. Is that kind of what it was for you guys? Was it the power loss that kind of like rang the alarm bells?
Cheeky of you, CJ.
Yeah, we used to never have losses like that where like we're just not competitive. And that power, like Gen G was the first one in that. We had one kind of versus FaZe in the first regional, and then we had one Gen G in the third regional, and then the power one was for sure like the most eye-opening. And you know it causes like it causes a lot of like inner observations to figure out what's going on. But to be honest, like we don't always figure it out. It's not just like, oh yeah, let's just do this and it works. Like it's been a lot of like experimenting and trying to figure out stuff, as well as because like it might not just be meta anymore. So how can we turn what we know and add stuff that might be working nowadays and try and figure it out? Because we all want to do well. It's all in us still. It's not like anyone's not putting in the effort or wants to win. It's just it's become really tough to balance with the new meta, as well as just us putting in the work that's necessary.
That's facts. Well, like that's the end of my interrogate. Jarzo, do you have anything as the G2 colloquial custodian for him?
I mean, it's something that's happened a lot over the years. It's like the lot of periods, like as a duo, especially just Reed and Jake, they'll have periods where like they're really good, and then they'll start coasting because there's no one to challenge them. Like it happened after season 7 when we kind of slumped after Montreal, especially like DreamHack Montreal into season 8. where we kind of relegated, that was kind of same kind of deal where we were just sitting on our laurels and just not improving and not talking. And then it took like a really big wake up call and a big dedicated boot camp to really get back to the grind. So I'm not surprised that it's happened. I do wish by now that it would be something that is avoidable, and it sounds like they're like really trying to make it not happen again. But it is important to realize that it probably can't happen again. It's something I recognize has definitely happened in the past couple times. So it's not unexpected for me, and I know they'll bounce back pretty heavy.
I think it's the hardest thing for teams that are established to, I guess, not get into the, clock in, clock out sort of mindset. Like sort of, even Jack talked about it with Gen G, like it just makes scrims, like when you have a new team or just bringing in a new player, like it screams like it's fun because you're learning how your new teammates sort of operate, and it's like, it's almost that rejuvenation of energy. So I think new teams always have the advantage inherently in terms of just that like appetite to practice and learn and want to scrim, and something that the older teams are. We're probably seeing more and more like these teams just making like one roster move and then they're like peaking again, and it might just be that mental thing. So I don't know. Do you sort of see that? Would you agree with that, Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like that's a very good point. It's really like, I mean, for example, us like BDS, Energy, like, and then I wouldn't say like V1 or FaZe, because FaZe is newer. V1's been a team for like over a year, but like V1 only had one bad result recently, like the 9th through 12th, which isn't them. Like they're usually consistently always top 8 or above. But you definitely see like the newer teams not fall out as quickly as the older teams. I think it's just because like when you're a new team, you try and establish like a play style that makes everyone like the best on the team as possible. And like I think we kind of forgot that and became like lazy. And like if you look at Energy or like KC, like not Energy, sorry, Gen G or KC, like all those players are getting hyped up to the max right now because they're all making each other better. And like that, you just don't see that like with teams that happen, have been together for 2-3 years. Like Energy, like even if they're doing well, someone's gonna get the blame. Squishy's gonna get the blame. So it's just like super hard to find that middle ground of finding like trying to make everyone play their best as possible, and like that's what every team works for. So it's definitely easier to do that when you're a newer team compared to an old team.
No, it's
I
fine.
want to hear about this from Torment though. Torment's quiet. I want
Yeah,
to
no,
hear what Tor's thinking about his
let's
current
put him
roster.
in the hot seat. Let's put him in the hot seat, Jarzo. Top right, Tommy.
Watch, yeah.
We haven't spoken to you as well since the first split. You guys went to the major. Top 8, it wasn't too bad. Lost to Secret. You probably had top 4 in your hands, but Secret, they proved that they're still a strong team, winning Sam. Now you've had the first regional as well. 9-12, not great, but you lost to a peaking Dig that also beat Space Station. I guess you've had a very interesting off-season as well with all the things, in the works and the potential moves and stuff like that. What's been happening? What's the vibes now? How's the team? We bouncing back? What's going on? Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot happened. I think after the major, I think we had. I mean, it's a decent result. Like, obviously, losing the Secret was like definitely sucked to all of us because I mean, they're a very very good team, but we were like, yeah, we should. That's a match we should win and get a top 4, and then I mean, we would have played like Moise. I think who knows what happened after that, but yeah, we were pretty upset with that. And I think we realized, like, looking at our results and how we played, like, the way we played was like, I think we had like a ceiling, like with that play style. I think we all agreed with that. So we came back, obviously, whatever trade window drama, whatever. We come back with the same roster, and we had talks and stuff, and we went into scrims, and we were trying to change how we played. And I think it went fairly well in our scrims and stuff. And I think we were somewhat successful. And then we got in match, and it was hard to like not go back to our old habits, and we were just getting really mixed up. Like our dig series, like the amount of open nets we gave them. I'm pretty sure the last game we lost was just like giving them an open net from their net, basically like, across the field, like stuff like that. Like that stuff like we normally didn't let in because we were just like not on the same page. So yeah, right now we're just focusing on getting back on the same page and playing to something we're all more comfortable with. Because like yeah, definitely didn't work the last regional. It wasn't like a terrible regional. Like we still got a couple wins and then lost to G2, and then we just came out of groups really flat, to be honest. But yeah, I think we can bounce back. Like I think we're feeling better this week and stuff than we did, in our scrims in the last few weeks. So
Do you think like this we sort of talked about at the start, the groups, like this sort of format. It really comes down, like you can just get a bad seed. A team like FaZe or any top team can come second in their group, and then they're in the round one, and then you could play that team. Like, do you think this is the most brutal, brutal format where you could just have a rough matchup? Like you could lose one game in groups and then play a FaZe or a Gen G, and then come 9-12. I feel like no other format is like this. I guess not luck based, but sort of brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't cope because we played really bad, but I hate this format for sure. Like, I think the way we did groups before was also not great. I personally have always thought that we should be sending like the top, like having winning groups shouldn't be like such. Well, it's not as big an advantage this year. Like last year, it was huge. You won your group, you were top 6 with a double in bracket. That was absurd. That I hated, or not hated that, but I didn't really like that. I think the top 2 teams from groups should like start in uppers, and then you send the 3rd seed to lowers. It might be a longer day, but I felt like that was the most fair way you could do it. Maybe I also like Swiss. Like I did like Swiss, and double M's not bad either. But I don't really like how we've done the last 2 group formats.
Didn't we used to have what wasn't the format used to be like 1 and 2 went uppers or like
Nah, top 1, wasn't it?
It's always only been top 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
split, or last season's.
I don't remember like exactly, but I thought there was a time where people were complaining that number 1 seed out of groups didn't get enough of an advantage. Does anyone else remember that? I don't remember what the format was, but I do remember.
I think you're talking about the grid back in Season X. Last year it was 1st seed goes into the upper bracket, and 2nd seed and 3rd seed go to the lower bracket.
RLCS X Spring, so not even grid. Okay, so it definitely was a thing.
I don't remember that format.
Top 2 of RLCS X went to uppers, 3rd, 4th went to lowers. I think people were in. Wait, so everyone survived?
Oh, wasn't
no one eliminated from groups.
Wasn't that when we had? Did we have 20 teams in that?
It was 5-team groups. Yeah, 5-team groups.
So I'm still thinking like 4-team groups. You just knock out the 4th team, and then 3rd team goes to lowers.
I think the complaint was that like 2nd seed doesn't get anything compared to like 3rd seed, apart from seeding, but that could just be very luck based, as we were talking about. So
I mean, theoretically, it'd be matchups.
Yeah. Like you could lose like you could lose like a tiebreaker to like the 1st team. They go to the next round, and you're playing like, you get like a really good team in your round because they messed up in their groups, but they're still good, and then they beat you, kind of thing. Like it's very like. Yeah, the lower bracket match, or not the lower bracket matches. Those 1st round matchups can definitely be brutal, and I guess we'll see in the next regional if it happens again or if it happens now. But
you mentioned
how many of your gripes? Oh,
go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, how many of your gripes do you think are caused by the whole tiebreaker thing that a lot of EU pros were complaining about over last weekend?
Oh, like the BDS thing.
Yeah.
That's just the head-to-head versus game diff thing, which I mean, I think game diff is a little better, but I think if they knew going in that it was head-to-head, they shouldn't have got like baited by that.
I still think it's weird how 3-way ties are broken differently than 2-way ties.
It's really not though, because it's game diff against tied teams. So it's either 2 teams, which would be head-to-head, or 3 teams, which is just head-to-head. So it's exactly the same. It's just,
but they don't do head-to-head.
Yeah, it is. It's game diff against tied teams. So then if you have a 3-way tie, you basically remove the matchup against the 4th team, and then you just do the head-to-head, like the game diff against the 3 teams that are in the tie. So it's the same format. It just like works a little bit differently because there's an extra team in there. But it's still game diff against tied teams is the first tiebreaker, and then it goes to overall game diff, and then it goes to, I don't know, what else? Initial seed, yeah. But yeah, it'll go. So I think like the Calming group was tied a 3-way tie, and it'll just go, game diff against the tied teams, which is why like they were complaining like, oh, it's head-to-head, it's not game diff. Well, the whole format is just game diff against tied teams. It just means that when there's 2 teams, it's just head-to-head, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's you mentioned Tor like how you like Swiss. I want to throw it to you, Chrome. With the formats, would you prefer just having one format for the whole season, or do you like sort of mixing it up and finding a few good ones?
Honestly, I think sticking to the same format would probably get really dull. But I think Swiss probably is the best format for Rocket League because honestly, this game is very playstyle heavy, and you can honestly get that one matchup where you're just like not super comfortable with, and you just lose out. Especially like if we go to double elimination, you run into like a matchup super early, second, third round, and you're going to lower bracket most likely because if it's a bad matchup, a team that you're super uncomfortable with, just because of play styles, it's not really going to dictate who the best team in the tournament is, in my opinion. Because like honestly, I can remember like when we go to lower bracket last season, we picked up Dan, and we have to bracket reset the teams in the finals. It's kind of like rough. But even though we felt like we were the best, it didn't matter because we lost early to a team that we struggled against. And Swiss, I feel like you get a lot of opportunities to just like shine as a team, and like potential up to 5 series, and then you go into the playoffs where everything's on the line. You're just gonna get the best teams, in my opinion, out of Swiss.
Some teams were complaining about Swiss. You know, you can get a bad run, you can play 2 of the top 8 teams or whatever, but surely Swiss overall compared to like say even this format, I feel like you can get way more unlucky and you can come 9 to 12 a lot easier than Swiss, where you have to lose 3 times. Like surely Swiss is easily the best format we've got.
I mean, you're gonna get a Mickey bracket regardless. It happens. Teams lose to teams that they should not be losing to. It's not really your fault, but I don't know. I think it's the best format overall compared to all the other formats, just from looking at all the flaws.
For those of you that are playing right now, so not CJ.
Damn it.
So the other 3, okay? Imagine if each split had one regional of each format. Like, you know how we have the Open, the Cup, and the Invitational? Imagine if, like, the Open was double elim, the Cup was groups, and the Invitational was Swiss of every split. Better or worse than 3-3-3? Like how we have it now, where each split is its own format.
Personally, I'd say worse.
Worse. So you'd rather
Yeah.
have each split be its own dedicated format.
Yeah.
And what do you do for the major too? Like
Probably just major Swiss again. You probably have all majors be Swiss.
Yeah, you could do that. I think I prefer it being. I mean, I think it would be interesting. It probably. I mean, it would keep things really fresh. Obviously, every regional you're playing a new format, but I think I still prefer it being once per or like one format per split, just because I think that would also confuse a lot of people, not even just players. Like I feel like the fans would just get super confused with that.
What I was thinking about it was like certain teams might be better at certain or better.
That's
and
copium.
prefer
There's
certain
no way.
formats.
You can't say that.
No, probably not. But imagine you have a team that really prefers Swiss because they really always rely on that third life, right? But they missed the first split, like a Liquid from last season, for example. Then you never get to see them really perform long term. It's kind of copium. It's kind of copium, but it's what I was thinking about.
Oh no, they had a chance to qualify. They just didn't qualify. Because that was when they were super inconsistent.
Yeah.
Do you think then if we had different formats, like D-Rex sort of mentioned in chat, if we had sort of lands just be this one format, like every land we know what it's going to be, deciding the best teams, and you think that's probably, do you think that's Swiss? And then regionals we can just muck around a little bit and have different formats? Or would you rather, I guess, the qualifier formats be the ones where we definitely find the teams? Like, I feel like Swiss finds the top 8 every time, or it should at least find the best top 8 compared to any other format, compared to double elim, single elim, whatever. Would you rather that and then have the majors and stuff be a bit different, like, some groups and stuff like that? Or would you rather have this one consistent, every major, every LAN is always Swiss or something to decide the best?
I feel like if you're going to have each split be its own dedicated format, you want the major to match it. Maybe have something special for Worlds, though.
I did like Worlds format, the Swiss into groups into single elim. I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
Worlds is definitely good.
But it's 24 teams, so it's like.
Yeah.
There's discussion. T-Bates put out the opinion out there that majors should be a little different. With having, did he say 24
I like
teams?
that, actually. Yeah, he mentioned that majors should have more teams and world should have less teams because we're just trying to find the world champ. And whereas majors, it's more about, getting the most points. Almost majors feeling more like dream hacks, I guess, sort of, a bit more open style, maybe 24, 32 teams.
Yeah, that practice area when we were there for the wild card and stuff, yeah, it felt like a dream hack. There were just so many people. And then when the teams from the main event came in, there was like 24 teams in there at once. It was nuts for sure. Never experienced like that since like a dream hack.
Would you rather have majors be that like he was sort of saying, in like closed worlds for 10, 12 teams, best teams in the world on points, and just find the best? Or do you like having worlds being like the big one?
I mean, I don't mind having Worlds be 24. I mean, you could reduce it, but I don't think it's like a big deal having there be a wild card there because it's different than the main event. Like it's the wild card and it'll single you down to your best 16, based on that, like internationally. But honestly, I think it would be cool to have the majors have a wild card because you could also you can give SSA a spot. Mina can have more than one team, so it's not just them fighting online and then their best team comes and whatever happens. Like you could see actually what Mina team is the best like on land, which I mean probably still be Falcons, but it'd be interesting to see them more often than just once a year besides Falcons and stuff. And I think it would give more teams chances, I guess, at majors and on land.
I think some people mention in chat like it's taking worlds away from other regions. I'm not sort of saying that. I'm saying, what if the majors were more open? Like we had 32 team majors and you could have 2 SSA teams. You could allow more spots for all the regions, but then really tighten it down for worlds where, maybe, I don't know if you have region-based spots or just, total points accumulated from the whole I don't know how it works going to the worlds, but like sort of tightening down worlds just for like the elite of the elite. But then having the majors open to everyone because the majors are sort of, have a bit more of that dream hack feel where you are getting the reps in, getting the practice in.
I mean,
Well,
if you're going to ask an SSA team, I bet they're probably going to say they'd rather go to 3 majors and no worlds than 1 worlds and no majors. I would think. I don't know, but I'm probably 85% positive that they would choose that, at least in that sake. Like if you're talking about from the player side, I feel like those players would definitely rather be able to go to more events.
I think I can agree. So Derek in chat saying like it's hard to call it a world championship if all the regions aren't represented, but which I understand. But it's almost like we're trying to find the best team in the world. We're not trying to find and if they go to the majors, like they're getting the chance to be one of the best, like to qualify. It's not like they can't make worlds. It's just giving, like we're finding based on the majors the 10 or 12 best teams in the world and then having a world championship to decide the best team in the world based on the majors. It's not like we're shutting. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not shutting out those regions if they want to, if they're good enough they can play because they'll be at the majors. I don't know.
I think you're right because if they're good enough, they'll make it to the worlds, and they'd be getting 3 majors worth of international practice. So
I mean, that's what the
theoretically,
wild
they'd
card is
also be
for. They
getting
could still
better
keep the wild
faster.
card.
Yeah, I think 32 team majors, and you should keep worlds 24, and you give you could probably still work in a guaranteed spot for like SSA and APAC and all the regions.
I guess you could do that.
Minor.
Like how many? What if you had 12 quality teams and then sort of like 8 spots from like the different regions or something like that, just so you can qualify through. Maybe like 1 spot, maybe 1 spot for each region outside of the auto qual, 12 from the majors or something like that. And like the 12 spots that you qualify for worlds aren't like region based. It's just the 12 teams with the most points at the end of the season based on majors only. I think you'd have to go based on majors only. You couldn't include regional stuff because that might get messy with like SSA and stuff. So you'd have the 12 teams that have the most points from the 3 majors and then 1 spot for each region at worlds. I think that'd be sick. Like, you just get the elite of the elite LAN teams. Nothing based on regionals or automatic slots.
I think something that's more interesting is what Sonics going to do for next season because I don't know if it's just me, but they can't do the same season again. I think, especially for viewers' sake, like the sake of the esport, and for pros' sake, like I feel like if they copy paste what they do this season, next season, I feel like it's going to be not good. Is what I'll just say.
What do you got for us then?
I don't know. That's again, like I mean, this is a good. I mean, that's like a good conversation. It's like, do you change majors? Do you change, how many splits there are? Do you do like? I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but like, is there franchising? Is there like, do you do? I mean, do you do a 1 split and then like an MSI, almost like a mid-season championship? That's has everyone. And then you have another split, and then there's Worlds, which is more. You kind of the MSI is just like more to see where everybody's at, get a feel, and then Worlds is one split after that. You know, I don't know. There's so much stuff they probably could do, but there's something that needs to be changed.
I like
So
that.
Direct and Chad just said Psyonix can't keep making huge changes regularly. My issue with that is you look at other esports and they change format constantly. League of Legends is franchised, and I feel like they change their whole entire format every 2 years. Like they're on a
Yeah.
whole. I don't know if anyone here watches League,
Yeah.
but the LEC is like I started watching this season, and it's so different. And I think
Yeah.
it's healthy because it gets you a new
Yeah.
environment.
Yep.
It gets you something new to watch, a new way to follow your teams. Like I'm on the same boat as Reed. I think next season there's got to be something different.
That's also why they change every split too, so it's not dull. You always
Yeah.
want to have the viewers watching.
Yeah.
Well, the
I
thing
think
is,
it. Go ahead.
to be honest, like the structure, like they can have a base. Sonics can have a base of like online splits into majors, into whatever, but it needs to be tweaked at all. Because like, I mean, I'm not trying to like be the Debbie Downer, but if they copy paste it, like they can't expect good things to happen, like as in terms of like an increase. Like I understand it could be confusing, but like you can't just like copy and paste and expect the esport to grow. I feel like so, and especially like not grow, but even like sustain. Because I'm just saying, if I'm a viewer of like CS:GO, well, I did watch a lot of CS:GO, and the way their stuff works is they have like just major tournaments every other weekend, and after a year, I'm like, okay, I don't really want to watch because there's nothing really too hype because I know like if this team loses, they just have another tournament the next weekend, like in a weekend and a half. So it's really like it's really important to maybe have a base where you can like understand that there's some online that goes into a LAN, that goes into Worlds, blah blah. How do you tweak it? But if you have a copy paste, it's just going to slowly decline until it's
Yeah.
not looking good.
I
think it's super necessary.
I think like the problem is that where it almost feels like well, traditional sports, they never change, they're the same all the time, but because it's all about consistency, building that. Yeah, basically consistency is the word for it. But the problem with it is like it's esports. Like I don't think we can ever sort of. It's too hard to just you always got to keep adapting. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be a game doing something different or a new game coming along. I guess Rocket League's kind of unique because there's no games like it. But you look at the other shooters, like Fortnite comes out of nowhere and takes over, and then or Valorant competes with Counter-Strike, stuff like that. Like there's always new things, and people. It's the same with anything. Like people are always looking for the next thing to like try and play or the next thing to do. And I think you've got to find a way to keep people, I guess, interested. I mean, there was talk, I guess a couple of seasons ago about, what if we change like the field? What if we go to different, non-standard maps? What if we, change the boost, stuff like that? I think we do need to change. I don't know whether it's like actual game stuff, but certainly like format seems like an easy thing we can shake up just to try and keep people invested. Like you just can't. I don't think we can ever treat it like a traditional sport, esports, because we've been around for like 7 years. This game.
To be honest, like traditional sports, like I know for a fact for the NBA and even the MLB, like these are like they're changing. Like they're like, should we have a mid-season tournament? Should we lower the amount of regular season games so we can keep like regular season entertaining? Because by the end, no one cares because playoffs. Baseball is changing it because before it used to just be they'd play the same teams in their division so many times, but now they're like, okay, we're gonna have every team visit every stadium, so you can get more fans. Like it's more exciting to go to. Like change rules, so it's like you can't really compare and be like, well, normal sports have changed because even the biggest sports organizations in the world are changing right now, and like they're figuring out how to keep their stuff, inventive and new so their fans don't leave because it's just a thing. And like again, I mean, I don't know numbers. Like John was talking about, like this season's a copy paste from last season, but like I don't have numbers, but I don't know Rocket League's doing better or a noticeable increase than last season. And eventually, if you just keep doing that, it's just going to turn into a decrease. Yeah, viewership. It's like
it has to be declining a little bit, surely.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I don't want to speak numbers because I don't know, but yeah, just from the outside, it doesn't seem like it's doing better than it was last season, for sure.
Yeah, there's probably like someone's made a graph or something, but there's always different things going on. Like people were posting the viewership for EU on the weekend, but obviously we had no drops plus like Super Bowl plus CS LAN major, whatever, stuff like that. So there was a fair bit going on. So it's hard to like isolate an event, but I think if you look at averages overall, it's probably similar. I think we'll definitely see a change next season. I think that there's no way that we'd just be like, hey, let's do that again. And I think that, maybe we do like Jarzo said with League, we have a couple seasons on and then shake it up a little bit. But it'll be interesting. I think if we open it up for a bit more lands, whether that's having 2 splits, as you said, we have a mid-season into a Worlds, less majors or something, we can have more other lands, like we can have like the BTS is coming back, and we used to have E-League, WSOE, DreamHacks, whatever. That'd be fun to see. So look, we'll see what happens, but we could probably get into format for the rest of the show. I want to dive into this regional though. You two are in the same group. Chrome's over in group. Where am I looking right now?
What the death group. The
Yeah, you're in the same group. Chrome, what's going on? How does this happen? You are in the group of death.
Hey, we trolled against Dig in the toss, and that's a series we should have won. Something we're gonna probably want back in the future. But I'm always of the philosophy you got to beat the teams in front of you. So I mean, this is winnable for us. We've beaten both these teams. Not the New Furia, but we're capable of beating these teams. So if we're good enough, we should be able to beat them.
I believe.
Do you think, like, when we say that group of death, because there's probably like 3 fantastic teams, but it's almost, in terms of, like, it's not the most balanced group. I feel like a crew, like, they should come fourth. Like, is it, or did they get 9 to 12?
They're not a slouch either. They took Gen G to the distance and honestly should have probably taken that series, but when push came to shove and nerds are on a line, they kind of choked.
So this is
they're not a walk in the park either. None of these teams are in this tournament. So can't just go into that crew series thinking it's a free win.
Yeah,
no, that the mindset that we're better.
Full group
better.
is group of death.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count a crew out either. You come out swinging.
So, we had last regional. Complexity got their top 2 after not having the best performances. Where are we looking at the top of this region right now? Gen G, who's second now? FaZe coming 9 to 12. I'll throw it to you two players. Like who's at the top of NA with Gen G? Who's second, third right now?
Very tough. I mean, what was the top 4? It was like Dig and Complexity was on the other side, and then Gen G, G2. Yeah, it's tough to say because Gen G kind of who do they play in quarters as well? Syria? Like they just they took out good teams on their way, so it's hard to tell if those teams were actually fourth in top 8. Like Furia easily could have been in a Complexity spot, and they could have made the final. It's hard to say. But I think FaZe will probably bounce back. I think we could bounce back, and I think I would probably say second would probably be probably G2 because like they've been consistent at least. Like it's hard to give Complexity the nod for second just with one final. It's hard to throw Dig up there instantly, and it's hard to place Furia right now.
How did Furia bow? Oh, the Gen G.
Yeah, they only lost to Gen G.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to say who the distinct second is right now.
That's how it is, yeah.
It's probably the most like up for grabs it's been in a while.
Yeah.
There is no clear second. It's kind of like I think
For
EU's like
second,
that too right now, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
for
EU's the
KC,
same
and then
way.
no one really knows who's second because it's just mixing up.
So I'm just looking at the groups and the way it's going to play out. So your group C, you guys, G2 V1 Knights Ghost. I'm looking at the way this could play out. So hypothetically, let's say you guys are getting 1 and 2. The second place team, they're going to be over to Group A. So they could be realistically playing a Dig. We could have a rematch, a V1 Dig again.
That was the matchup that happened last time. We got second, and then Dig got third, and then they beat us.
So we could have that again in the round 1. Would you like that matchup? Would you like the rematch? Or do you think Dig can peak again, or are they just good?
I don't know, to be honest. It's hard to get a read in situations like that. Like this has happened before, where a team just comes up in like their first tournament. I think Ghost did this like 2 splits ago, maybe. Like it was like back when they had like Shock still and like whoever, like maybe T Curl, like they came to their first regional and they got like a top 4, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, Ghost!" I think they beat us that regional too. They beat Energy and us, but then the next 2 regionals they didn't do the same. It is hard to replicate. They easily could though. Like if they get another top 8, they're in the major running. So it's hard to say.
What's the likelihood they do it again? Like another top 4?
Or-
Likelihood.
Yeah, likelihood.
Yeah, like
Rate dig.
25%.
Another top 4. I wouldn't have them. I think they could get a top 8. I think they'll get top 8 or top 12 and then be in the running for the last one. That's probably my guess.
I mean, they barely squeaked by the close qual, so like I said, it just comes down to the day.
Yeah.
They're playing well. They're not that consistent yet to warrant them like being justified top 4.
Yeah.
Who do you want in that group, hypothetically? One of you guys comes second. Who do you want?
Isn't it like Koi and Optic?
Oh, Koi,
Yeah,
Optic,
Boy,
Dig.
Optic Dig, GG.
Probably Dig.
Really?
Yeah,
Over
probably-
Optic?
Well, like again, like we haven't played. I don't think we've played Optic in tournament this season, so I don't know. But I think versus Dig, we just like either match. I don't think it would like be bad to be honest, but I think versus Dig, I think we would just have a better like read on them. I don't know. We've never played either of those teams in tournaments, so it's tough to say.
I mean,
You've played Optic and Invitational calls, but that's not even like full regionals yet.
Yeah, that we played them like 4 months ago, 5, 6
Yeah.
months ago. So like they're not the same team and we're not the same team. So I
Exactly,
can't
yeah.
even replicate it. And then scrims, like you can't even like take either. Like you can have an idea, but again, tournament's so different.
Juju played Optic in Sweet. Oh, that was a long time ago. Tommy, who do you want?
I mean, if you had to pick one, I'd pick Koi, but I don't think though they
Koi,
haven't won a
I
series.
think we're on the same
Oh,
page.
man,
Koi's
like,
getting fourth in that
okay.
group.
They haven't won a series in the main event
Yeah.
in, like a year.
Koi's getting
Yeah.
fourth in that group. I think we
I
got
didn't think Koi was an option. I forgot.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna-
we would. I would probably pick Optic because I feel like I mean, we just lost the match against Dig, so it's a little more unpredictable, and they might be more confident. And I feel like Optic. I mean, we've had a good matchup against them in the past, but we haven't played them in a while, so it's hard to tell.
Just looking at the groups, it feels like, I don't know. I feel like NRG's in a good spot. That's a good group, Group B for them. Having said that, M80's a pretty good team, and Shopify as well. I'll throw this to you. NRG, top 8 first regional. Can they get a top 4? Can they make the major? Top 4, move on. Go again.
Well, if they were to get second or third, who would they play? Would they play the SSG group?
No,
Like,
we
would they
pl-
play?
Yes,
depends.
they would. They play Complexity, Fury, or Space
So-
Station.
Let's say Energy gets second in that group, they would probably play like they could literally play anyone from Cole, SSG, Furia.
True.
So I don't know. It's literally that matchup. Like if they win that, and then quarters, you never know. I don't see Energy getting a top 4. I could definitely see a top 8. I don't know, just because like I don't think V1's gonna do the same this regional and phase. So like when you have those like as soon as you put those two teams, I just don't see like I don't see Energy in the top 4 once you add those two teams back and the potential like top 4 teams.
I think they definitely have. They could. It's like they could, but I'm not gonna like. I wouldn't predict it. Like that wouldn't be if I had to like put my prediction down. I wouldn't have them getting top 4, but they definitely could. Like I'm not. I definitely can't count them out. They've looked better recently, and we've scrimmed them and stuff. And you could tell they've made some improvements in like how they're playing. So if they just have a good day and or they get a good matchup or bracket or
Yeah.
whatever, then they could do it.
If they do get a top 4 this event, like they deserve it. There's no walking apart. Because like if they
Yeah.
do get second seed, they're playing one of the 3 teams in Group D, no matter what. And if they get first seed somehow, then that's free top 8.
I mean,
And
to
they're
be
still
honest,
gonna play.
like
going good.
the pressure that Energy's feeling is like probably not as much as they felt before too, because they like feel confident in the last result they've had, where I think they started like last couple splits, like with a 9 through 12, where they're fighting from behind. Maybe they have started this, but like they got top 8, but they also played well too. So it's not like maybe they beat a team that was pretty free to get there. It's like no, they got there and they played well on top of it. So it's probably just confidence, and they know they're in like a good spot. While like like FaZe and B1, they have to think about like doing well, because when you like they're the ones coming from behind and not like in the major running exactly, so they have to get a result that gets them back into the top 5. So Energy is definitely like in a good spot, to be honest, even for just a top 8.
I'm not one for bracket manipulation, but this is nearly just looking at that Group B, right? If they get second in their group, they're gonna, assuming they beat a Complexity Furious Space Station, they'll be playing Gen G. Assuming Gen G win Group A, which surely this time they win a group. But if you get third in that group, then you go flip the other side, and you could have a G2v1 in the quarters. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like
I mean,
it's a format. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the thing is, this format's like actually impossible to predict because their group is like I can see like I did predictions like just kind of for fun on my stream, and like my original just gut like I had energy out of the group just because like I was just like going off of like in my head I was like energy M80 like M80 is pretty good. I could see like the way I was trying to think like the way those two teams play, and energy ended up going 1-2 like a triple tiebreaker and being the one that gets knocked out. So that one like that group I think FaZe wins, but like that group's like so solid. Like all those teams, like I'm a big fan of Shopify, even though in regionals they've kind of had poor performances. And then M80, I actually think is like again, it's a good team. So that group's gonna be wild for sure.
Pretty sure they went to game 5 with them too last regional.
Yeah, they did. They did. I was
With
about to say.
M80.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
decided
M80's
between second
good,
and third.
and M80's confident too. So
Yeah,
like
M80
that's
is
probably the
good.
most sleeper group for sure. Because again, like I think FaZe wins, but FaZe is gonna be the one having to prove to people again that they're like there to dominate. So it should be interesting.
All right, let's do predicted top 4 then. What do we got for this regional? Obviously anything can happen with groups and stuff, so you have to try and just put that aside. You might not be able to get your top 4 literally, but who have we got this weekend? Top 4.
I'm just gonna stick true to my predictions because that was just my gut.
Mm-hmm.
I had Gen G, FaZe, Complexity, and us.
Am I doing one? Or am I
Yeah,
next?
go for it.
Yes.
Well, I remember last time I was on here, I predicted myself winning, and then we won.
Oh,
I?
there we
Shit.
go.
It was like
Gotta
the CJ.
replicate it.
It was the CJCJ buff, right?
It's
I'm
not
pretty
dead,
sure.
that
Is that
buff
still
either, by
alive?
the way. It's
Yeah, that's why I'm
It's still
here.
alive.
Well,
That's
look,
good, yeah.
someone asked if it was dead, and you could argue that we have had people on that haven't got top 4. However, we had a show where we had Chicago and Garrett on. Now, this was the end of the buff. However, it was physically impossible for both of them to get top 4. So we actually tried to glitch the matrix there because I think G2 had to play NRG in the quarterfinals, and the winner obviously got top 4. So that was impossible. And then we had the major show, and we had Liquid and
Amphis
Power.
and
We had
Oski,
Amphis
so
and
yeah.
Oski. I mean, come on, what were we doing there? Were they going to get top 4? So when you think about it, the buff is still alive. So go for it. Predict yourself. This isn't copium either. CCP.
Yeah, I mean, I have to predict those two because if we don't get top 4, then not in the greatest spot for sure. So I guess I would put us. Gen G's too consistent, so gotta go them. The last two, I mean, you could literally pick like 6 different teams, and it's like yeah, that could happen. So I would probably say G2 for a top 4 again, and then I feel like this all depends on matchups too. Like it's hard to predict the matchups. I think I'll say Furia because I think they would get a top 4 with a better bracket, not playing Gen G basically. But it could be any team. That's my PR answer. So
PR outside of putting yourself top 1, what you need to do.
I didn't really go in order, did I?
Well, I mean,
you got to put
it
yourself
sounded
there.
like the way you said it sounded like a pretty good order.
I'm not exactly saying like, yeah, we're gonna come win the regional. I just gotta say myself.
Oh, you're winning the regional.
Ijaza.
So the whole part of the CJCJ show buff is they believe it.
Mm.
When you predict yourself, you believe it.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. CNC.
That's why Amphis and Oski, they didn't believe it.
No,
They didn't put themselves high. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, they weren't. They didn't get the buff because they didn't believe.
Righto, Jazza, you go. What do you got?
Fair enough.
All right, got Gen G, G2, Complexity phase in that order.
Gen G, G2, complexity phase. Okay. Look, let me take this one. I think this could be a wild take, But I think it's just going to be the Group D. I think we're going to have the grand final in it. I think Complexity and Furia are going to play off. We're going to get a Sam grand final, and it's going to blow the North American scene up because they're going to be like, what's going on? Last regional, we had one NA player, and now we've got none. I think it's possible. I think we saw it last time. We had, I think Gen G and Complexity were in the same group last regional, weren't they? And they made the grand final.
Yeah.
I think that'll happen again. We're going to get Complexity, Furia, and then third, fourth, Gen G phase. I think they'll drop in the semis. The old guard and then the new guard are going to come through. Complexity and Furia for this one. That could be spicy. What do you reckon,
That
Connor?
happens.
I'm not smoking crack. That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
possible, but you might be on some copium.
Maybe.
I think we're
Rob-
due for a big Furia performance, though. Something.
Are we?
I would be surprised if they don't get top 4. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, like, they just ran into Gen G, to be honest.
Yeah, the bracket's different now, right? Like they'll play someone else. I guess depends. I guess where they place actually.
I have no clue, but I just think
Furia,
they're due for at least the top 4.
Sugar, Furia have not been underwhelming. They like won their group and then lost to Gen G. Like what more could they have done apart from losing to the winners? I don't think they've been underwhelming. I think they just haven't been, getting the results. A bit like Complexity. I feel like Complexity have always been sort of a team that you don't want to play. They can always be top 4, but they just never had the results. And now they finally got a top 2. So anyway,
That's actually a pretty good way to put it. Like the feeling I'm getting from Furia these days is the same feeling I got from Complexity back when they moved over in
whenever.
the 21-22 season.
Yeah.
Like how, like we respected them, but we weren't really expecting amazing success out of them, especially after we started seeing them play in our region. It's like I'm not expecting Furia to peak, but I still respect them and their ability to place. Chrome, what do you got?
I have top 4 Gen G phase G2, and then honestly, whoever wins Group D, I think we have a good shot. I think we're gonna get top 4. I like our matchup against Complexity Furia, even though they're kind of like Furia's a new team, and Complexity's been on the up and up. I think we have a good shot.
SG pop off, I'm gonna be hype.
Wait, what was your top
That's
4?
been a long time coming.
Gen G phase G2 and Space Station.
I'm ready for SSG to be back at the top.
All right, are we
Not
ready
that you
for
guys
the?
really left, but
Are we ready for the most exciting segment we've ever seen? You
Yeah.
guys know what's Chrome. You know what's about to be coming here.
Actually, falling through with that.
We're actually gonna
I
follow
wish.
through now, boys. You guys can contribute if you want to, but we had a suggestion last show, right, where I thought of a new segment because you always see on Reddit, everyone, you guys would see, you're reading the comments and everyone's like, oh, if only Torment, started playing second man a bit more, had, if he was just up front a bit more, control the midfield, yada yada. Everyone thinks that they're an absolute professional coach. So I've thought of a new segment called I Can Coach Space Station Better Than Chrome. And basically, we just get people to write in their tips because, they're sitting on the sidelines. They're massive Space Station Dan fans, but they're not getting the results. And I think here's their opportunity to give the coach of Space Station Chrome some advice to get them over the line. Got some comments. I don't know how I'm going to pull the Twitter comments up, but let me just full screen these ones. Hang on a minute.
we can have a narrator. I can read them out for you.
Well, I think I'm just going to full screen this. Here we go. There we go. The boom. There's one. All right. First comment on YouTube. For I Can Coach Space Station Better Than Chrome. All Space Station needs to do is buy out Gen G, and then Chrome can coach a team that finishes above top 8. All right. That's not great. All right. It's not bad. It's creative. It's not great. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is more of a Reddit comment. LJ needs to be the main focus. Dan is third man, and RC Baby is a constant second man. So Dan and LJ rotating deep, while RC Baby holds a constant middle, always ready to receive and intercept. Come at me, bro. And before anyone talks trash, Vatira was third man for Moist. So what's he want here? He wants LJ to be the main focus and Dan as third man. Arsenal roll in the midfield. What do you reckon, Chrome? Chrome, do you like it? All right. That's not great. All right, here we go. Nah, that's it's not great. First one, that's a bit, unoriginal. Second one, let's just pick our best one at the end, right? Let's just quickly go through them. Yeah, hair guy, that was toxic. All right, Adam Wilson comes in. Oh, all right. What SSG need is a high intensity circuit training session before events. Oh, are you serious? Oh, hang on. Sorry. I've actually scuffed this. Let's just pretend. Hang on. Add existing. There we go. Sorry, I didn't set this one up. I'm sorry. They could hear me at least, but basically, Chrome said, you're done.
Chrome said it's great. He's gonna start taking.
Chrome said, hair guy, you're on his watch list. You're on his hit list, all right? So we don't want to hear that. And that one, look, it's a bit hard for Arsenal to grab boost, said Torment. All right, now they can hear us. Third one, Adam Wilson. What SSG need is a high-intensity circuit training session before events. Dan and LJ children, so sitting still for more than 10 minutes must be very intensive for them if they haven't been allowed to run around outside. And Arsenal's a confidence player. Getting him to palm Dan and LJ in a high-intensity training session will get him feeling good and get him in the headspace to bring full RLCS tier performances. That's actually not bad. A bit more exercise. Could be a thing.
Fun fact, we actually considered doing something like that for all major. At least I thought, just reactionary based training with a tennis ball or something. Just get the guys
F1
blood
drivers.
flowing. I saw Dignitas do it at Atlanta. I was like, damn, okay, I see them.
There's actually a bit
Old
in that.
F1
Dignitas
drivers
with
do that.
Jorkis, and they had their coach Lenny or whatever.
Yeah.
He's some sports site guy. They're doing some tennis ball training. I was like, damn, these guys are getting in the groove.
Fun fact about that as well. I remember when we were at Gamers 8, and who was it? I think it was Farhad came up to Fever and was like, how do you have such good reaction time? And Fever was like, oh, just play. And he's like, do you not, drop a tennis ball or something and try and catch it? And he said that's what a few of the guys in MENA were doing, actually doing that sort of reactionary based stuff to try and work on their reflexes and stuff and get faster. So there you go. They're thinking about things on a different level. But that's a good one. It's a good one, Adam.
I'm moving to SSA.
I think Arsenal needs to be told to go back to the Mustang. He hasn't been the same since.
Arsenal's in a penthouse. I don't think he's moving SSA at all.
When was he on the Mustang?
The Mustang.
Arsenal was on the Mustang.
Phase.
Wasn't it right after
Right after Joyo.
Right after Joyo played it? Yeah.
That was last winter.
Yeah.
The winter major, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's not bad. Now, I've got one I want to read from Twitter, and I think this might be my favorite. This has actually come from another coach. It's come from Jimmer, who's the coach of Power. And here's what he says, all right. Now, look, Chrome might have the experience as a professional player, been coaching a top-performing team and consistent LAN team, and has overcome numerous setbacks and roster changes. However, and this is a big however, this man has too much hair. Chrome is nearly pushing 30 and he has retained an outstanding hairline throughout his coaching career. There has been no indication of the backline even wanting to push into the wings. Well positioned, very strong. This, to me, is a strong indicator that Chrome isn't working hard enough. As Space Station's new coach, I promise to work until I'm grey and balding. And to anyone who says work smarter, not harder, I say, nah, mate. Cheers. I'll send my application to Space Station later. Chrome, where's the balding hair? What's going on? You're a coach.
But I got a lot of gray hairs. You guys probably don't see it, but I literally, if you see it in person, I have a lot of white hair and silver hair. It's bad. I'm losing all my hair color.
But the hairline is flawless right now. As a coach, I just expect it.
That's got good genes. I'm Hispanic. My dad is in his 60s, he has full head of hair, and my grandpa even was in his 80s. He had full head of hair. So.
Wow.
Yeah, he got good genes.
So not even stress.
I'm lucky
I will say, Rocket League brings out gray hairs like nothing else. Even I got gray hair before I retired.
Anyway, I think that wins. I think that's taking a different approach. It's thinking outside the box, but I think it might be onto something. Clearly, Chrome, despite what we may believe, isn't stressed enough as a Space Station coach, despite what it may look like. Yeah, you got the job.
Trust me, the stress is there.
We know it's there. We absolutely do. Look, there's a couple more, but I think we'll leave it there. We don't want to go on this segment all day, but I think Jimmy wins that one. Yep, Jimmy, you've got the job. You can put your application in, And well done on thinking outside the box. Look, we've done our predictions for the regional. Boys, do we have any, Jarzo, Chrome, do you have anything else we want to cover with these two?
I want to hear their major predictions.
Oh, yeah, because we're not going to hear from
Oh, I
them
forgot
since.
about that.
That's good. That's good. In terms of what, though? Who's making it?
I
Who's
want to
making
hear what 5 teams from NA are making it from each of them. Yeah.
Holy
Long
shit.
term.
Oh, this is
That's so hard.
good luck.
Because we've done this with yeah, we most people. So that's it. Think about it for a sec. Deliberate. Torment, you're going first.
Going first.
Yeah, you're going first.
All right. Well,
Do
Gen
it-
G
Yeah, no order, I guess. Okay.
in order.
No, not in order. Not no order. No order.
Yeah. Well, obviously Gen G. I think Complexity will make it because I don't think a team has ever gotten a second and not made it, and they're just gonna probably get consistent enough results to make it. I'm gonna put us. Obviously, I can't not put my own team. Even though most people probably wouldn't right now. 4 and 5, probably G2. I mean, they just got top 4 and probably gonna be consistent. And then 5 is very tough. Like I feel like it is. I did say Complexity already. I feel like it's either gonna be between who are the last teams: Furia, FaZe, and SSG, and Energy. I'm
Energy's
probably
in,
gonna go.
in contention for you.
Well, I mean, they got top 8, so I would still say them.
Okay. Understandable.
Can you recap that? Or did you?
Oh, yeah, I did get a top 4. On my recap
Yeah.
of like my 4, I said Gen G, us, Complexity, G2, and then I'll probably say FaZe, I think, but I don't really know. That was just a guess. I think they'll bounce back. It's hard to see, like, it's hard to see like that team missing a LAN, like first go missing a LAN.
Good group this time as well to get first and just roll into a good top 4, top 2.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Cargo, have you thought about it?
Yeah, it's like impossible. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I would go Gen G, Complexity, us, hopefully. Yeah, and I've been saying like I don't think FaZe misses. So I'm sticking by that. And the 5th team is actually just impossible to say. I'm not gonna lie. Like I could see. It's not that I don't even think I could pick one. It's because I could just see like each team making it. I don't know if I could pick a 5th. I'm not gonna lie, because I could see V1 always pulls a regional win out. SSG's like been consistent the entire season. Energy again, I think they're confident. Like I could see them getting top 8 results. Dig is in there. Furia, like I said, is due for a pop off. So I don't know. I literally don't think I could pick a 5th team.
I'm gonna
But
pick one randomly.
We need more slots for real.
You would just put Tommy.
yeah, I'll put Torment just because a regional win's super important and they always pull one out of their ass. So
Out of our ass.
yeah, it's
Well,
just a classic like out of your ass regional win. Yeah, you just want to win the regional. All right, let's do it this weekend.
I think last winter we got our 9th, 12th, and then we won the next one. I don't know if
there you
that's
go.
happened again, but that is what happened that time.
Someone said
repeats
Optic.
itself.
Calm down a little bit. All right, there's a few
Optic
things.
got last.
Let's calm down. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit. They're in a bit of spot. Look, are we gonna do it? Do we want to do our early predictions?
For Worlds?
Well, not
Jesus,
definitely
wow.
not
That's
Worlds.
what
Worlds.
I
I don't know. You said
thought.
early.
Major.
What are early?
No,
are you talking
like
about?
for major. Like obviously we could do it anytime.
Oh, for who wins?
No,
Yeah, if we had
can
to do
a
it,
top
you
5.
guys have to do it too.
All right, let me give you top 5. All right, it's gonna be Gen G, it's gonna be Complexity and Furia because I got them top 2 for this time, and then it's gonna be FaZe because they're gonna get a group. They're gonna come top 4, and then G2 are gonna scrape in again.
Whew, scraping.
It's gonna be a
Favorite way to
G2
make
V1 dig standoff for the 3rd regional, and I think it's gonna be like G2 did in the first split. You're gonna sneak in there. You're gonna sneak
We
in.
definitely could have tiebreakers too. Definitely
Yes.
possible. That'd be exciting.
Weird
I'm not
weird
in it.
change, isn't it? The points. How first doesn't get an extra point or anything. You notice that?
Yeah, I noticed they changed it.
Well, like
Wait,
if you
don't-
get first, are you really gonna get into a tiebreaker?
I don't know. Look at OCE. There's teams tied
it's probably
first
for the
right now.
other regions that it
3
hurts.
teams tied for
Or
first.
sorry, that's Sam.
Sam,
Two
yeah.
teams tied
Yeah.
for first. Wrong region.
It's like Secret and
Um,
then like 2 new teams.
Secret,
and then,
Exceed,
and then Nip's like
and
Crew.
4th.
Crew. And Crew
Yeah,
are all
but
third.
like, I
Nip's
mean,
not even close. Nip's like
I'm.
seventh.
It's just like NNA. That's not happening. Like a team that's getting first. It's not like I don't
Yeah.
see them dropping their next 2 regionals to a spot like dropping all the way to 5th. Like if a team's winning a regional, they're most likely going to be pretty informed to get at least a couple, like a top 8 or a top 4.
Top 12 even would be enough.
Even if they get if they get a top 12, then like a top 8, that'd probably be good. So I think that's more so because there's 2 teams only that get a spot.
Righto then. Jarzo, hit us up. What's your 5 for the major? Early
Genji,
doors.
G2, Complexity Phase. Who did I give for my 5th? No, I didn't give a 5th this weekend, did I? Yeah, I think those 4 are locked. Well, in my brain,
Really?
like they're going. Not locked, like overall, but I'm confident in those 4. And then 5th. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Reed. 5th is so hard. Because like I kind of want to say Furia, but they keep like doing well early and then falling out late and not actually like making it deep. But there's some other teams that like you can't be as confident in. Like you easily just say like a V1 because somehow they always scrape it out. Yeah, might as well. V1-5 as the 5th. Not necessarily 5th seed, but so Genji, G2, Complexity Phase, V1.
I want to see Chrome not put FaZe in there.
It's hard not to put FaZe because like doing my assessment of this regional, like FaZe gets first seed, right? They're probably most likely going to play either Dig, Optic, or Knights. That's a free top 4 for them. And then they're going to run into like a G2. And if I think we win our group, and I think Complexity gets second, they're going to run into G2's going to run into a Complexity, and winner that plays FaZe, and FaZe I feel has a good matchup against both teams. That's a top 2 for FaZe. So I got like Genji, FaZe. I think Complexity's a lock. Top 2 is like such a good placing that it's hard not to make lane with that. And I feel like G2, I think they have favorable groups in their favorite playstyle wise. I mean, they kind of crushed it last regional, and they kind of had the same teams in this regional. I think that's another top 8 in the books, and since they got top 4, it's another huge placing. So that's 3 teams, or that's 4 teams. So this spot's up for grabs. I honestly think it's going to come down to either us V1 or Furia, and I'm going to root for us because if I feel like if we win this group, we can get a top 4.
Oh, if you guys win your group, you guys are so good for making major. I feel like just like
I
confidence.
mean, we still are. We're still going to probably most likely run into a V1 or a Dig or Optic because I don't see Genji losing. So it's definitely going to be up to that quarter-final match. Who probably makes LAN, I think.
I like it. Look, it's been a fantastic stream. Before we let you go, though, I want to make you guys look smart. So I want you to give me the winner of the major. That's not you. So basically the runner-up of the major, assuming you guys pick yourselves to win it, make the major and win. Who's winning the major? Which also ties into is KC better than Gen G, depending if you pick one of those two.
Give me KC this major.
I feel like Gen
NA.
Z going back to back is tough. No team has a team gone back I guess in the current era, a team has not gone back to back. It's hard to
Back
predict
is
that.
tough.
Even in any period in time, I don't think a back to back has happened. Maybe once, like way back, but it was like some like dream hack or into an E-League or something. Like I don't really know. But I would probably go K Corp if I had to give just like a safe answer, because I feel like they're gonna come in like, I mean, they already look better than they did last split too, and I think they're gonna come in with more, I guess, experience together, and I don't know. Batira seems like he wants even more now, which I didn't even know was possible, but it seems like he wants even more now. So
Yeah, I think that KC actually their advantage probably that they're on away soil because they won't have the K Corp army adding that extra pressure, which they did talk about. There'd be a lot of pressure when a whole section of the crowd has come just to see you guys perform. So I think that definitely weighed them down a bit at Rotterdam.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be hard to beat. I agree. They're looking very strong. I don't know who takes them down. It might be just the team that's peaking on the day, like a peaking Oxygen, or obviously Gen G can do it again. But look, it's going to be tough. Anyway, that's it from me. Chrome, Jazzy, you got anything, or we wrapping?
I think we wrapping.
I kind of want just one more thing real quick.
Oh, here we go.
Reed and Tom, do you guys like it better as players how deep NA is now, or when it wasn't as deep?
Bro, come
Last
on.
season was so much nicer. I mean, the competition's not good, but like knowing we could. I mean, we weren't like it wasn't like free, but it was knowing like our competition to make the major was like Optic or was it Optic or like Envy with like the Drees out Mist roster or like Oxygen like LJ Gimmick Toasty. Like those weren't bad teams, but that was like our biggest competition to like make the major. And now it's like there's like 4 like god teams, right next to you at all times.
And you liked it was in it when it was easier?
I mean, just to make it to the LAN. The LANs were still like just as hard. Like
Yeah.
the competition was the same, but now it's like so many good players that come to NA. It's like you feel like the hard part is just getting to the LAN.
Reed?
Yeah, I'm good on all this competition. I'd like it to be a lot easier.
You like
Making
it
the
to be a
LAN.
lot easier?
Yeah, making this
Okay.
LAN is so stressful. The major is nowhere near as stressful as the online region, like the split.
A couple more slots would be nice, maybe, but they're not going to do that.
No.
I mean, 5's a lot still, but just how many teams there are, it's like there's way more than 5 good teams in NA now.
Maybe next
Yeah.
season. Maybe next season when they change the
next season.
format.
Maybe
Look-
next season throw some like third-party DreamHacks or something. Get some more fly-in teams.
Wildcard slots.
Something
That'd
like
be
that.
look. That'd
Yeah,
be
if they do the
absolutely
24 team, like 24 team major with wildcard spots, they would probably have to add a couple slots for NA and EU, and then they'd give a
That
couple
is a,
slots
that's a
everywhere.
good talking point because like if they keep the same format, do more teams move over to NA for the money as well, or more players?
Mm.
Probably.
I
Then
think
it just
that's
gets even
right.
more stacked. And then what do they do then?
Probably.
Team's gonna move to EU.
Right?
Wait,
Everyone's gonna start moving to EU.
Are you saying that if they give NA more spots, it's just going to make more teams move? Or are you
I want to
just...
say, I'm saying if they keep the same same format as last season and then the season before that, and then rumors are that more players and more teams are going to move over to NA, then kind of ruins the North American region in that sense.
That's fact. But there's almost that, as I said, there's that problem if they give NA too many spots because other teams are moving, then maybe that'll encourage even more teams to still keep moving over there because it opens it up. Look, it's going to be interesting, but
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see. Look, boys, good luck this weekend. We'll certainly be tuning in. Well, you'll all be playing apart from me and Jarzo, so we'll be watching with very closely. Hopefully you guys can pull out the win. Torment, hopefully you can get a dub because that's what happened last time you were on here. Cargo, hopefully get a second place and lock in a major. And we'll be seeing you boys in San Diego. But thanks so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. You guys are the GOATs.
Appreciate it. Thanks, boys, for having us.
Thank you.
I should
Hope-
say.
Guys.
Absolute legends.
I hope the buff activates too. I'm hoping that.
I think the
it
buff's
puts
still
on
there.
Friday.
People are saying it's dead, but trust me, you realize it's still there. And I think there's been a bit of magic on this show, so I'm ready to see a top 2 from you guys. At least top 4. I think you'd both take a top 4 moving into Regional 3. So
Top 4 would be lovely.
I'm cool with that.
yeah,
Cool with that.
we'll take that. All right, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This was I think it was number 10, maybe CJ show number 10. Thanks everyone hanging out. We'll chuck Rizzo a raid. So everyone hop in there. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you guys next week. But tune into NA Regional and make sure you get behind these two because I think they're ready for a big weekend based on what we're hearing. Thanks everyone hanging out, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.